that over time. So I'll just say good evening and hello, everybody. And I'll just let whoever else that's going to climb in tonight just climb on into our space of manifestation and magic. And one of the big things that is shifting right now, we're going like the last sort of 8 weeks. August was really sort of masculine energy. September was kind of feminine energy. And October is where we get to sort of blend it in. So for the full moon next week, we're going to do a nice balance masculine, feminine full moon ritual. So it'll be really fun. Um, but what I really wanted to talk about today was the fact that sometimes we feel like we're manifesting, we're doing the work, but it seems as though things just aren't coming fast enough, and sometimes with abundance it can happen very quickly, and it depends on what abundance, what sort of abundance realm that we want to go into. Because when it comes to things like abundance, we are very abundant often in many different ways. Sabrina, welcome. So lovely to see you. Hi. That's awesome. Hello, hello. So lovely to see your beautiful face. Aw,
Well,
thanks for
sweet. Great to be here.
Oh, it's awesome. Um, yeah, I was just saying, I picked this subject tonight. Just, I know it's kind of a repeated subject and it's something that we do go over and over. But of course, whenever I sort of decide on a subject earlier in the week, things sort of come into the field to just give me some teaching points to go from. And so it's been a really beautiful week in just noticing the energy that's coming in now. We have this full eclipse energy, and I'm not all about like, it's a full moon or you can't do this, can't do that, but it's like we have this energetic help. We have this cosmos that's working, with us instead of against us. And so when we follow those laws, like I was talking about last week, the laws of the universe, when we start to pay attention to how those laws really work, and we really start to embrace them, and the knowledge of them is when we start to kind of integrate all this. And if we are going to maximize this beautiful eclipse energy that is not only able to help us to connect to the divine, which is a beautiful thing, but it's also there to give us that little push, that little nudge that we need. And we've kind of I feel like, on a cosmic level, needed this little nudge, because it's like, yes, I want this. And we know we need to surrender and let it happen. However, that aligned action, if it's missing in between, or if there's, something that's stopping us, we won't go forward. And what I've noticed just with people that I'm coaching, and even in self patterns, we can be so focused on what it is that we don't want, that is where we go, and that is where our energy flows. And a very interesting question to ask ourselves, and I was working a lot with double bubble this week, so of course it brings up this resistance, and that double-edged sword, right? But what's important at looking at this double-edged sword is what's on the other side of that sword. What is the old patterns? What is the old feeling? And for a person who, for me, literally spent pretty much all of my life feeling bad about taking money, it occurred to me this week. Hey, Heather, good evening. I'm so glad to see you, beautiful. I hope that thank you. I hope that everything is good out there in Florida. We've been holding you all in our prayers, and you have power. You're here, so this is a good sign. I'm happy to see you guys here. Talk about cosmic shifts, hey? Like, wow, this weather is just absolutely insanity. And I've missed you too, Sabrina. I was so happy to see your name pop up there. Thank you. It's like our little family. So this this energy right now has allowed me to see a lot of things, right? Oh, of course, we keep you in our prayers all the time. Absolutely. So good to see that everybody's okay right now. Um, yeah, the one of the things that came up for me, and I was like, why do I feel bad every time I take money? Why is it? And of course, asking these questions, we get these answers. And the interesting thing is that these answers are sometimes quite surprising. And I remember literally feeling really bad as a kid, having my mom buy clothes and having her spend this money because I knew she didn't have it. And that really sort of started that whole feeling bad, I'm sure, way before that. But for that to be able to come up so strongly to me was like, because you think you're broken. You think, like, what is wrong with me? Why do I feel bad every time I answer? Why do I feel like that was just, that's what kept coming up for me. I mean, we know all about all the limiting beliefs and all of this kind of stuff. But those feelings, those real, like, we tag and treat them and we do recodes and we know, yeah, I don't feel worthy. But it's like, if we were to think about having all the abundance, whether it was abundance in relationships or abundance with money or abundance with, I want you guys to kind of feel into what it is that you kind of would like to be more abundant in, that maybe you're not yet. Maybe it's just those healthy friendships, those people that love you and will just honor you. And maybe it's the maybe it's an abundance of certain things. Abundance comes in so many ways. One of the most beautiful things is that I've noticed since we've been shifting, my husband and I, the way that we're thinking about things, the way that, like, when you talk about magic happening quickly, it literally can drop in that day. When you can embrace that proper manifestation energy without the gravity of the old things, when you think about the gravity, the weight that a belief about feeling bad about ever having anything, not even so much more than anyone else, but feeling bad taking something from someone, even if they want to give it to you, there's sometimes a little bit of a blockage or something like that going on there. But these beliefs, these thoughts, these feelings, they have a gravity, they have a weight. And that weight is in your brain, it's in your heart, and it feels heavy. And when we do this work, we talk a lot about embracing the light, letting the light in, allowing the light to come in and shift out. These are the kind of things that when we meditate, that when we take a few minutes to stop thinking negatively or positively, when we take a moment to get into our heart rather than our head, we're able to then either shift or release that gravitational pull for a few minutes and start directing it towards where we want. And for a lot of people, if they are really trying hard to do something, say like achieve, $1 million, and they have this really big goal in their minds, and this is something that they really, really want, we can really want it. But what can happen is what we want more is to not fail, or to not risk going bankrupt, or to not risk losing our house and our vehicles and our credit. We're not willing to. Sometimes we are so resistant against failing that can truly be the block to manifesting, because when we are that resistant, that has more gravity than the occasional thought of, boy, it would be really nice to be able to go on a trip, or it has more gravity and more pull than something like, oh, I really want to change the world. But when we can, make this choice, really get into the feeling of changing the world, really get into the feel of, it's not, for a lot of us, it's not about the money. It's about the abundance of happiness. It's about the abundance of time. It's about the abundance of clarity. It's about the abundance of discernment and, being able to love. And this is really where it's at. And the beautiful thing is that unlocking that and taking away any of that gravitational pull that may want to sort of pull us back, per se, or may keep us stuck, this allows us to actually give more gravity and give more energy to what it is that we truly want, because then we're able to think more about those things that really light us up and make us feel good. Hey, Samara, welcome. Friday night.
Hi.
Woohoo. Beautiful to see
Yeah.
you. Thanks for hopping in. We're just,
Sorry I'm late.
no
Got a
worries.
contract.
Oh, nice. Oh, it's all
Just your
perfect,
intent for this evening. Just your intent.
right? Oh, that's so good. That's so good. Yes, this is, I'm just kind of like explaining sort of why I felt called to do this session tonight, and my intention is to be able to take this gravitational pull and allow us to really shift to be able to see our true uniqueness, our true gifts, our true wants and desires without some of those gravitational heavinesses, those things that are sort of in the background without us even noticing how much energy we're putting towards them. And one of the things is really interesting is that when we end up, she is looking good, isn't she? You're radiating tonight. You have a beautiful energy. I love it. um, this gravitational pull that we can have on our unconscious mind, in our superconscious field, can sometimes be so strong that we think that because we are resisting it, or because it's something that we don't want, it's actually got more gravity or more pull than what we think it does sometimes. So when we are able to kind of just step back a little bit and look at some of those old feelings about being a child, if you were to even go back to those points where you were a kid and you kind of think about abundance and how it was, when we have one of the things we've talked about are some of those repeating patterns that we used to hear about money, like, it's, you have to work hard, but these things are really making more sense now than they were, as far as, you can hear things on certain times, but at this point and in this shift, with the cosmos doing what it is, with these big eclipses coming up, with Jupiter being closer than it's been in 60 years, with this enlightenment starting to happen, this is a time where things are really starting to be shown to us in a whole different way, without a lot of the other things attached, in just those sort of true stories. Welcome, Linda. Awesome to see you. Thanks so much for joining. Um, so I was, yeah, just kind of going over the fact that we're working on some abundance shifts tonight. It's just a really beautiful time to be able to come into our own. This is kind of like, cosmically, we know that we sort of have this support to be able to see things on a bit of a different level, with a clarity that we may not have seen before, with a readiness that we may not have felt before, with a want and an urgency, in a way that's not an urgency to get away from something or chase something, but more of a place to be in, where we can actually be consciously aware of what we're creating. Because a lot of times, I think a lot of us understand that we can create things that we don't want. And if we are creating something that we don't want, this is the time that we get to have this sort of magnifying glass look at it and really understand what it is that may be stopping us. Now, if we can't, when we ask these questions, what's stopping me from just, which we will in meditation, the really interesting thing is that once we start to bring that up into our active experience, we then know that that is what's got that little bit of gravity that's going to pull us down, that's going to sort of drag us down a little bit. But what we can do is literally talk to ourselves in a way that we maybe never have before. Talk to ourselves in a way I don't often go into affirmations, but I love doing things like abundance affirmations. For example, something along the lines of, um, I am just honoring the flow of abundance through my life. Like these aren't things that I used to say to myself, okay? These were not patterns that I had set up in the past. These are not I was never, I just choose to be financially abundant. Now it's written on my mirror in my bedroom. Like these are things that never happened before. But when I looked at it just the other day, I thought that doesn't feel right. We need to find some affirmations that feel really good for us. So, what we're going to do tonight is we're going to create 3 affirmations for ourselves that will just be 3 affirmations that you start with. I want them to start a bit of a, as Esther Hicks calls them, or Abraham Hicks calls them, a rampage. I want them to be able to just start that rampage of beautiful thoughts like, I just attract money into my life. I have money flowing from so many sources. Or if it's relationships, I have relationship opportunities everywhere. I am more in alignment than I've ever been with what I want. I'm choosing healthy relationships. You really feel that. You really talk to yourself because the dialogue from before was probably not that. It doesn't come as natural to just go, oh, I just ooze money out of every pore. But in some of these big gurus, they'll like Linda saw Chris take us around his not Chris Duncan, Christian, sorry, take us around his mansion and show us his house, and allow us to kind of see what he had behind him, his beautiful like oceanfront property, whatever. Another guru I saw came up on stage and took up a wad of money out of his pocket, and he just went, I love money. Oh, I just love money. I just love money. I love what it can do. I love that I can give it away if I want to. I love that I can just start an orphanage right now. I just love money. And like 3/4 of the crowd were completely triggered and like, what an asshole. They're like, I don't even want to listen to this guy. But this is it. This is how he feels about money. So money comes to him. It comes very easily. There's no struggle. There's no, oh, I feel bad. When I started thinking about doing that on a stage, I felt like I was crawling inside of my body to try and do something like that. It was like, oh, and then I realized that's how I feel about money. So why would money want to come to me if I am in a completely contracted state like a fish out of water, flapping? And one of the things I used to do was always talk people out of buying something on their way out the door. Like they would have a massage and they'd be like, "Oh, I wanted to get some of these oils." And I'm like, "Oh, I'll just give them to you." Like to such a ridiculous point. And the dreams, I don't know if I told you guys this last week, but I think I might have. The dreams lately that have been coming up for people, like some of the clients that I've been talking to, the dreams that have been coming up, even if it's just a quick daydream, you have a little nap during the day. It's like we are getting serious downloads. And I want you to pay attention to the middle of the night. Energetically, it's like as we become more sensitive beings, we see, feel, and hear things more. We feel it more. We're affected more. And so, oftentimes, when we're going through these ascension stages, when we're really having big shifts, and it's often end of the month or the moons, all this kind of stuff, what'll happen is between, anywhere from about 1 to 5 in the morning, you'll have these sort of periods of time where you just wake up and you feel like you could just go run a marathon, like you're completely wired. And it doesn't really make any sense, but it's like, it doesn't even feel like nighttime. Like it's like I can't even sleep. You just feel really, really almost anxious in the middle of the night. And what's happening is your body is being so overloaded with energetic downloads that your body almost can't handle it, and it will wake it up from a state. So you won't necessarily get the information right then, but during those few days that follow, you tend to get these aha moments, these real clicks and moments where you're just like, what a great idea. You'll just find that during the days, those will happen after those nights that we have these sort of splurges of these big, there's been lots of little flares and stuff happening. So I've been hearing about that a lot lately. But the dreams, like even in my dream, I had a dream that someone was coming to my house randomly, didn't know them, and I made myself late to go. She needed all these things, and I can't now. I've already gone past this, so the dream is completely gone. But there were certain things that this woman needed, and I was going to find them come hell or high water around my house, and I was going to make sure she had them all. And I wasn't just giving her what she needed; I was giving her more than that. And she wanted to give me money, and I was sending her away. And I was like, for God's sakes, I'm even doing this in my dreams. Like, what is wrong with me? But it was a total download to have a really good look. It's so happy in the mirror at the end result. I love this. Let me get my chat up here. This is so good. I feel so happy in the mirror. Oh, I love it. I love it. That's so good. And mirror work is really huge for this. It's sort of recommended even in this connecting to your divine. It's like go into the mirror and really, I love it. I feel so happy. I can totally see it, Jesse, too. That's so good. That's absolutely beautiful. It makes a big difference to do those kind of things. Just a little dance, a little, something where you're actually allowing yourself to feel good, to feel happy. Yeah, mirror work's tough. I think everyone probably still has a little PTSD from the mirror exercise that we were doing in, I think it was like February, where it was you have to go and literally sit in front of the mirror for about half an hour and really look at yourself and like go in there and go like, how are you? Really talk to yourself in this mirror, really connect with yourself. So that was one of the things I was going to suggest today, but it's also fun to just kind of get in front of the mirror and just do a little bit of a dance as you're going by, so you can almost laugh at yourself. I feel like the more we laugh at ourselves, the better it is, because you're playing with the universe. Like I find myself laughing a lot of times, like, okay, universe, I got it. And even with a lot of people that I've talked to this week, they're like, I knew I should have done this, but I didn't. And so now this happened. And often it's the body. Right now, the body is just not going to put up with it. So if we're pushing it too far, you're going to get sick. If we're not honoring ourselves, your body is going to literally go, no, that's not going to work. I tried being nice and I tried telling you the nice way that maybe you should rest and you didn't want to listen. So, here we go. So it's so important to pay attention to our intuition and to what it is trying to tell us. So a high five in the mirror. That is one of the big things. I can't remember. I think it's Mel Robbins or someone who does that. Maybe Tony Robbins, even the high five in the mirror. Yeah, giving yourself that little high five, that little boost during the day. But think about it. If we don't do that, hey Sess, it's nice to see you. I was thinking that was you on there. I thought it was Mel Robbins. Yeah. It is better than just looking at ourselves, isn't it? And it does. It makes you kind of smile. It makes you laugh. I have a girlfriend that does it on Instagram every morning. Never fails. She gives herself that high five in the mirror. She's also like a beach body coach kind of thing, right? So she's right into the manifestations, and that's what keeps her going every day. And those are the kind of little routines. We can think about it. We can know that those things are good to do, but actually doing them is that integration step. Actually taking that time to meditate for a few minutes a day, take a couple of seconds to just, well, I usually like to say 17 seconds or more. If we can even do it for 2 minutes, if we can have fun before you even get out of bed, then you got to clean your mirror after you high five it. You're cute, Sabrina. Um, if we were to take 2 minutes before, if we got up out of bed, they say just changing something really little. And when I'm coaching people, it's like something really little. Um, if you're living in scarcity, where I was talking to you and I was saying, when's the last time that you actually went out and bought yourself something? Like, have you bought yourself new clothes lately? I had a mama who hadn't bought herself new clothes in probably 10 or 15 years. And it like literally to the point where they're falling apart in the washer now. Like she's like, this is one of my nicest shirts, and it has like an old stain down the front and a hole. And when I asked her, I was like, when is the last time that you you even bought anything. And it was funny because I was talking about my underwear being so like, I need new underwear, I need new stuff like so bad. So I was feeling her, right? And I was like, so how would it feel to go and just buy yourself just one, maybe even one nice shirt that you could wear on Zoom? It's like your power shirt. You put that shirt on, you feel good. Just one shirt. It doesn't have to be, it can be a $2 on sale shirt, but you think it's cute. You walk past it, you just do one little thing, right? Um, to just kind of get that feeling good. Call it a certain shirt, call it your lucky shirt, call it your power shirt, call it whatever you want. I was like, never mind, I'm going to get some power panties today, man. I'm going to get some power underwear. I was like, that was a good idea. It has to be one pair, but imagine wearing that power underwear, right? Feeling really good, knowing you went and bought that for yourself. How different does that feel from, oh my God, I have to tie up my underwear because it's falling down because there's no elastic anymore, right? Like, what kind of power is in that statement versus, I got my power panties on tonight, right? Like, that makes you feel power. And that is what the universe is understanding, because we cannot trick the universe. We cannot trick it into thinking, oh, I'm abundant, but I feel so broke. Oh, but I feel, but the reality is, if we were to base what's going to happen and all of our manifestations on our current reality, we're not going to go very far, right? Because it's really, it's really what we are projecting that's bringing what's going on right now. So let's take a moment. I find to go sleep through them. I find I just go to sleep through them. That's funny. It's true too. Um, yeah, those, so I want us to just take a moment, and I want us to think about our current reality and what we really want, right? What it is that we, is there something that we're really kind of wanting right now to be more abundant in, since we're talking about that tonight, right? Is it clients? Is it the fact that we really want to be changing the world and we feel like I'm just not reaching enough people? Is it the fact that I'm reaching enough people, but I'm giving away all my time? I'm not reciprocating for it. Is it, I want a relationship, but I feel sort of more alone? I want us to pay attention to those buts. So if you feel called, I'd love for you to type in the chat, what it is that you want, those present moments, right? This is this current reality. I was going to get into that a little bit, but I did talk about that before, so I didn't want to repeat myself too much. But these moments of current reality are often these present visions, these present vibrations. And it's truly what I was getting at today, in that if I spent most of my life feeling bad about taking money, and then you try and just kind of switch that into not feeling bad about taking money, that gravity that feeling bad had was so much stronger than the gravity to my really wanting to succeed at this and really wanting to make a difference for people. I just didn't. I thought I had it. I thought I got it. I don't know how many times I've read The Secret. I don't know how many times I've read The Law of Abundance, The Law of Attraction, I don't know how many courses we've all done, right? And we can know it, but to actually realize it and to bring it into, yeah, in, and when it's the right timing. And this is the right timing to be able to really see this, because we're coming in from this greater point of view. We've done so much work. We can kind of look at it now and go, you know what? I've been feeling bad since I was 3 about that. And why, right? So, like Chris was even saying the other night, shining the light on the vampire, it gives us that, the light is now shone on that. We can now shift that. It brings it into the light. It allows us to release it. So tonight we're just going to do a beautiful little meditation where we're actually going to write down on a piece of paper. So in your meditation, we are going to pretend that we have a little notebook and a pen with us, and we're going for a little walk. And we're just going to um, we're going to visit a really beautiful body of water, and we are going to write down on our imaginary pen and paper those those rules, those things that we're truly ready to let go of that are coming in when we ask what is still stopping us. And so I want you guys to just kind of tune in, take a couple of nice deep breaths. I'm going to, I think, dive in. Yeah, starting from the end first. It's like going into that end result, right? What is it that we really want? Because we all really want something. But when we really, really want something and something's still stopping us, we will be allowed, I believe, in this meditation tonight to just be able to come up with a little bit of resistance. So I may end up doing a little bit of recode in the meditation because sometimes it winds up working out that way. And with abundance, there's often a little bit of resistance. So I would like you guys to just really kind of get connected into your heart space. And this is something that is really quite magical. When we get into our heart space and we think about, I'm not diving into the meditation just yet, but I want you to get into your heart space. I want you to just connect. I want you to feel how powerful you are, how divine you are, how able and capable you are of having absolutely anything you want in this world, and truly feeling that, because this is one of the things that limitless, abundant people have inside of them, where they know it. They know, like when you hear Chris talking about writing his book, when you hear him talking about, helping hundreds of thousands of people, really getting this out there, that may feel good for you. But what really does feel good for you, making a difference, like lately, I keep thinking of you, Jesse, because with the teenagers and the kids around, I think I know more, talk about gravitational pull and collective energy, but I think I know more teenagers that have spent probably, they feel more than half of their lives in struggle and feeling suicidal, feeling like throwing in the towel, feeling like they have no control over their emotions. And it's just, and I mean, you two, Heather, working with kids, and like the kids right now, they are struggling. They are really struggling. And when we look at the amount of struggle we have as parents and the amount of struggle our parents had, and the amount of weird and wacky things we've told ourselves so strongly over time, even to the point of how things have to be or how things should be, that makes me want to change the world. That brings tears to your eyes. That evokes that emotion of making change, and making that change for that greater collective energy. I mean, this world, we keep talking about this great reset and this great shift. This is of this of this mindset being able to take your power back, right? To be able to understand that we do have control, and we actually are responsible for everything that we're putting out there, for every emotion that we can be as happy as we want to be. Like, I don't know how many kids I've told lately, like, you have the choice to be happy, and they just don't even know that that's there. Like, it's just not even in their field. It's like, oh man, imagine writing a class or being able to get out into the indigenous communities to create generational change. Like, maybe writing a book or doing what someone else is doing isn't for you, but this is the beautiful time to see your unique, right? And then this is it, right? So we know it. When we know it and we're still not doing it, that is because there's a gravity that is stronger than that gravity. There's a gravity that is in that mindset of, there's something that you're more, and usually when we're not doing it, when it's procrastination, 95% of the time it's fear. And it's fear of failing, it's fear of succeeding, it's fear of not letting things, not what I find is, especially with working with other people, if you don't do anything, they're still going down. So they're just, maybe, you can affect it. You don't want to make them go down even faster. It's like, you're afraid of making change for people, whether it's good or bad, even afraid of not being happy. afraid of not having enough time when you're working with someone, or if you're going through this yourself, where your time is really the biggest thing, but you are, so hard trying, wanting, feeling the need to have more, that gravity is just going to end up keeping us stuck or not there. I love that, Linda. Permission to be happy, just to be happy, right? To just, even it's like, how ingrained is that? And I love being able right now to look at that. How many times, or when you can probably even think of just one time that'll come up to you right now as a kid, where it was like you probably maybe got shamed for being happy, or being happy made you were happy, and then something bad happened. you we often did have it, but something, happened that took it away, or maybe we weren't even allowed to have it in the first place, right? Isn't that huge? When, if someone else doesn't have it, can't be happier than my mom was. My Yeah, I hear you, sister. Absolutely right. And we don't tell ourselves this. We just automatically take this on as children, to be able to belong, and to be able to be a part of our family, and to be accepted, and to be loved. It almost always comes down to being loved, losing what, a lot of times with manifesting, we're too afraid that people won't like us, or people won't, and that's enough to stop someone from being seen. I mean, we know this stuff, but we all have our own thing that could be enough to just be able to shine this light on, and just let it go today, right? Just to be able to just let it go. Children know, and children take on things. Oftentimes, I've said, the things that we say to our children, their perception is what ends up making it their reality and their belief. And it may not have even been the way that it was, but their perception of it is real. I don't know how many kids I know have anxiety or have ADHD, and their parents won't accept it. They're like, you can't have ADHD. None of us have ADHD. You're just being silly. Tell a kid who knows that something's not right with them, that they don't have ADHD, when they've been able to actually look on TikTok and see all these people that are like, I had ADHD and it was finally diagnosed at 30, but my report cards were saying the whole time that I pretty much had ADHD, but my parents wouldn't accept it. And imagine if we had gotten them the help at that time, or even just believed them. Or, then there's the other end of the scale, where they can be diagnosed so quickly, everyone thinks they have ADHD. And if you don't, then you're going to get yourself into more trouble. But there's so many things, and I find I love that just finally got diagnosed. And it's not that I think a lot of us as parents, we worry that they'll get sucked into the diagnosis. So I can't do this, or I'm weak because I have ADHD, or it's going to take them on but when you learn something like you have that, there's so many tools that can manage it. It doesn't mean that you have to medicate yourself. It doesn't mean you have to become a part of the medical system. It just means that you actually now know that this is probably something that's going on with your brain. And there's like 15 great hacks that could make a huge amount of difference in your life. And the fact that you can cope with and deal with a day, rather than just completely avoiding and shutting down all day, could save so many lives. Like, think of how many kids have simply given up because they just really don't, they're not understood, or they're not listened to, or they're not heard. And I find with coaches and people and healers, like a lot of my physiotherapy, massage therapy buddies, it's like their kids, have anxiety, and it's like, oh gosh, what do you have to be anxious about, is some of our responses sometimes, right? And like, literally, that's like, you think you have anxiety, right? It's like, yeah, yeah, they probably do. That's probably why they're saying it. But we're so quick to, because then what would that say about us, and what would that say about them, right? So we have to really give these poor teenagers some grace these days. And we never really encouraged working with teenagers, but I think that, especially as they're getting a little bit older, they're going to find things anyway. So why not allow them to find the things that are from people with heart, that are in it to actually help them, and not just to pillage their parents for money, right? It's absolutely it. Um, the others telling me it's getting worse for them too. I love that. And not just medicating them, exactly, right? Because that is not, we really do. I really I mean, medications can help in some ways, but a lot of times we're medicating so that we feel comfortable with it, so that, you know, it's not really about them. It's, well, we're doing something. I took them to the doctor, they're taking their medicine. Well, they're not getting better. Well, they're taking their medicine. I did everything I can do, you know, or that's all we think we can do. Um, it's our story queen, but it's really getting worse. It's telling me it's getting worse for them too. The ADHD, yeah, it's interesting. I guess thinking about with especially something like ADHD, and I find that it's what it is a nervous system dysregulated a lot of times, and the most powerful thing literally is breath work, right? Because you can regulate your nervous system almost instantly. You can turn on your RAS system, you can turn on that parasympathetic nervous system, you can have that takeover stop almost instantly by breathing and responding versus reacting. Because I think what happens, especially with ADHD, we do that reaction very quickly. It feels so out of control a lot of times. Once they start to gain some control and notice little things about being able to manage, makes a huge difference. Like really makes a huge difference. Um, and this is exactly the thing too. And there's so many spectrums, right? There's ADHD, there's ADD, there's there's about 5 different variations just of ADHD all on its own. But there's, you know, there's, then you have the dyslexia, all these sort of learning. I think what they've started to realize, honestly, with kids and learning, is that this whole linear version of school doesn't necessarily work. It's not ideal for most kids. They're not learning the things that they need to, but it became this sort of adult type of daycare where we would just put the kids so that adults could kind of do their thing. And it stayed in a very archaic type of structure where they're starting to kind of get into different things now. It's so true, hey? Oh, yes. Um, like it there, but there could be, imagine if we taught mindset in school. Like, why not, right? Even on my kids sports team, they're like, could you do some of that mindset stuff with them, like that like, could you teach them meditation? And I was like, yeah. And I thought the kids would be like, oh gosh, Jordan's mom's teaching us meditation again. But they are loving it. Like they are just like, they can't wait to just like, they all get their little spots and they lie down, you know, sort of close to each other. Some of them, we ended up doing that light as a feather exercise I was talking to you guys about last time, like how we can control our energy. It still works. It still works, I swear. We got to get back into doing that, just having some fun with our energy. um if you guys weren't on last time, I don't know if you did that when you were a kid. You played the light as a feather game where you all kind of like put your fingers under and you could actually lift a person because they would get their energy so light that you could actually do that. Like it's living in 5D, and we were doing it as teenagers. We just didn't realize what we were doing. So my whole point of today was to be able to allow us to kind of feel a little bit empowered in a few ways, knowing what it is that we really want, really understanding what it is that we really want, being what it is that we really want. That whole be it to see it thing is something different. So if we want something every day and we're really not making even a little change towards it, there simply isn't enough magnetic motion to keep that gravity happening in that right way. So by being it, you can do a few things. You can dress the part. You can, you know, make sure you got your power panties on, make sure you got your nice power shirt on, or you know, you're doing something, you're even doing your hair, putting a little mascara on, washing your face a little longer, getting a massage, doing something that is going to make you literally be that person that you are becoming. Because when we are wanting to love ourselves, take care of ourselves, but we're not actually doing the thing that's making it happen, it's only going so far. It's only creating that neural pathway halfway. And if we don't do it, and if I don't go buy my power panties this weekend, I'm going to be in serious trouble because I want to create this neural pathway, right? I want this neural pathway to really form. And we know that by actually imagining it, then doing it, completing it, and being grateful that we did it and enjoying it after, that creates the neural pathway that makes it so much easier to do that more and more. So those gravitational pulls of, oh my gosh, I feel so bad spending money that I could be spending on my kid, da, 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 that doesn't get that gravity anymore. We're not giving that power. We're just simply not, by being it, right? Really feeling it and then being it with doing it, making that action actually happening, and looking, is there something where you are trying to do something and it isn't moving? Make one little thing and think about the power panties, think about one tiny little thing. That's so funny, Tim Robbins. Now I'm gonna have that in my head when I'm shopping. That was a good movie, Bull Durham. um, when we actually do it, that is the difference, and that is what will make that procrastination kind of take that second chair. We're gonna actually make some time. We're gonna make some space, because tonight we're gonna make some space in the light energy of our body. We are going to choose to let a couple things go. We are going to choose to, whether it's just letting the not following through, whatever it is, we are going to allow ourselves to write a few things down on our proverbial piece of paper and let it float away. And then we're going to make some intentions, and we're going to pick a few affirmations in meditation, and we're going to pretend to write those down on the paper as well. And we're also going to let those go out into the universe. Just have a really nice meditation. And I'm going to just load us up with affirmations of abundance and prosperity until you guys are going to be ready to just puke, because we're just going to load that gravitational force of just going there and feeling it and being it. And I have this really fun vision in my head, so I'm going to bring you guys into that right away. There's a money portal, so we're going to go straight there, and then we're going to go sit by the water. So who's ready to take a few nice deep breaths and do a little meditation? Sound good? Awesome, awesome. So find your comfy position where you feel supported. Love it. Thanks, Linda. Thanks, Seth. It's awesome. So glad to have you guys all here. So beautiful group tonight. I feel the energy. I've got goosebumps just coming on. It's just so good. So we are going to take, I'll try and keep it to 15 minutes or less so that we don't take all night. And I might even just give you guys a little energy work if you're okay with that. I don't even feel like Recode will come into this at all. So we're just going to go in. I want you guys to just take a couple of nice deep breaths, and I want you to just notice the breath coming into your body. I love breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth, and just allow it to be cyclical. Notice the gap between your breath. Notice that space, and notice the flow that happens where you don't even have to think about it. Your body naturally knows to just simply breathe in after it's breathed out, and it's the most natural feeling of flow. As you take that breath in, I want you to just notice the air going in through your nose. Does it feel cool? I want you to fill up your belly with every breath in. So as you're breathing up in, just literally allow your whole belly to expand. And on that breath out, I want you to imagine your whole body just relaxing. And we're going to pretend right now that there's this beautiful soul star energy, this beautiful divine energy that's above the top of our heads. And I want you to imagine that there is glitter coming down from this beautiful soul star. There's this glittery light. And as this glittery light starts to sprinkle down from above your head, you can feel it start to kiss your scalp. You can feel it start to touch the top of your head and maybe touch onto your forehead. And you can notice that as you're breathing in, that beautiful glitter can actually start coming in through your body, and it feels like light. It feels like energy. It feels like clearing that's entering your whole body with every single breath in. It's this constant sprinkle of glittery light, just beautiful iridescent white glittery light coming down. You may feel like it's a little bit more silver or blue, whatever color you're feeling is fine. And I want you to notice that glitter start to stick to your skin, and it's almost like your skin is drinking it in. It's this beautiful light energy, this connection to source, connection to divine energy, moving down your face and down your jaw. You can catch some of it on your tongue. You can just keep breathing it in and just allow this light to slowly start swirling around your whole body. Like with every breath in, that light is swirling and expanding and filling every single cell of your body. I want you to just imagine that light filling every single cell down your throat and your chest, touching on top of your shoulders, feeling like someone has their hands really supportively, almost like you can feel the warmth from that glitter starting to touch your shoulders, and maybe the tops of your arms sticking to it almost, and allowing your skin to just drink in that light. Allowing that glitter to touch your elbows and your forearms and your wrists and your hands, and feel that glitter touching your palms of your hands and every finger and every fingernail, even glitter touching the tips of your fingers. And imagine that light just moving through your whole upper body as it fills your whole chest cavity. And allow that whole chest cavity to just fill with that beautiful glittery light. As your heart expands and opens and heals, this light is almost like a magic healing light. It's starting to swirl down into the back, into where some discomfort has been and where some stiffness, and starting to swirl around the stomach where maybe there's been a little bit of pain or discomfort. I feel some tightness on that right hand side. Just allow that glitter to just fill that whole abdominal cavity, your lower abdomen, your lower back, swirling around to any spots that need a little bit more light, like that glitter is starting to pool like plasma in some of those beautiful places that things have been packed down in, that are sort of ready for light at this point. I want you to imagine that glitter going down into the pelvis, right into the pelvic floor, and relax every single muscle with your breath out. Relax the muscles that you're seated on. Relax the muscles holding your whole pelvic floor together. There you go. And allow your legs, your hips, your thighs to just start filling with glitter. Imagine that glittery goodness just touching your skin, like it's just sticking to it, and watching your legs just drink in that beautiful glitter, drink in that light. Your knees, I feel like the knees are just like vacuuming in this beautiful light energy. You're becoming clear on where you're going and where you're pointed, and allowing your shins and that whole lower leg to start feeling light and tingly. And imagine that glitter falling on top of your feet, maybe even allowing it to touch the bottoms. Breathing that glitter, breathing that beautiful crystalline energy all the way down to your feet as you feel your feet grounding. Notice your feet touching the earth, grounding deep down into Mother Gaia, and allowing that beautiful crystalline energy to just coincide and co-collaborate with this beautiful glitter and swirl around your body. Anywhere else that needs tension to be released, anywhere else that is asking for the light to now move in. I want you to receive a breath as it felt like it was just being pushed into your body, as you allow any tension to release your body. And I want you to imagine this beautiful light glowing all around you, so that you can almost not feel your skin anymore, almost feel like you're just glowing so much that you're this pure ball of energy. And in this pure ball of energy, I want you to imagine that you are in the comfiest room in your house right now. I want you to just bring yourself into your house. And I want you to bring yourself to a comfy place on the couch, maybe, where you're just sitting and sort of minding your own business. I want you to imagine what money would look like to you right now if it was to knock on your door. I want you to literally hear a knock on your door, and we're just going to play in the sandbox. Have some fun for a moment. I want you to picture a knock on the door. And as you get up from this comfy room in your house, I want you to imagine yourself walking to your door, and you open it, and money is standing at your door. It may be a big dollar bill with legs and a goofy face. It may be a big box that someone just dropped off. It may be the car you've always been waiting for. It may be men. It may be women. It may be these relationships that you've been waiting for. I want you to notice that you just got the biggest delivery that you've ever gotten in your whole life. And as you open that door, it comes in, and I want you to notice how it feels. Do you feel like you're welcoming it? How does this feel? Are you having a hard time wrapping your head around it? Is it not feeling like you can even visualize? If you can't visualize, there's a little block there. So we're just going to allow it, but we're going to play. We're going to make it cartoony. We're going to make it fun. And we're going to imagine that you say, come on in. And hey, if you have friends, bring them too. And I want you to notice that the money comes right in, and it just literally pushes right past you and says, thank you. Do you know how long I have been knocking at this door? All I've been doing is waiting for you to open it. And I want you to just imagine opening this door, the money coming on in and all its friends behind it. And I want you to just notice how this feels. I want you to imagine the money following you. You say, come on in, bring it to the room that you were so comfortably laying in. And it makes itself as comfortable as you just were. If you were in bed, it climbs into your bed and it just starts bringing all its friends. If it was the couch, it now puts its arms behind its head and it takes your place on that couch. It is feeling at home, and I want you to just imagine all this money. In fact, you can't close the door because the money is still coming in, and there's just more and more, and you look down the street, and it's so far down the street you can't even see the end of it. And I want you to notice that there's starting to become so much that you're not sure where you're even going to sit, and you're thinking, maybe I should go make coffee for all this money. I don't know what to do with all this money. I'm going to go fetch it a drink. So you go to the kitchen and you go to open the cupboard, and you have to close it because there's money falling out. There's so much money that's already packed in there that it's literally falling out of the cupboards. And you go to turn on the faucet and you can't even find the faucet because the sink is full of money. And you go to find the creamer from the fridge, and as you open the fridge, money is even falling out of there. And I want you to imagine it. I want you to imagine looking around. There's money coming. It's piled in every container. You went to go get some sugar, but there's nothing but money in there. I want you to notice all the money that can be there. It may be gold chains, it may be coins. Just enjoy the visuals that you're getting. I want you to imagine so much abundance that you literally can't close the doors. In fact, you're going to have to try and find a way out or open a window. And as you do, there's money outside. It's started to park. It's literally been calling its friends, and it's having a party in the backyard. And I want you to notice all the things that money could do, the champagne, the caviar, the beautiful people with little dogs, all these people that are there. I want you to just imagine that abundance, that feeling of having enough. There's no scarcity in the world. You're feeling good. You have clothes that just feel amazing. There's no contracted feeling. There's no constricted feeling. There's no bottled feeling. There's no fish out of water feeling. It just feels good. And I want you to just notice your house, and it's bulging. In fact, you're standing outside looking at it, and it's practically ready to burst at the seams. And in fact, you need a bigger house. I want you to start looking across the street and around for another house, maybe another property. You're going to need more sources to hang on to all of this. And I want you to just feel how good it feels. And I want you to welcome it in. I want you to, just for a few moments, feel Like you deserve to have all of this. You deserve these relationships. You deserve the amount of happiness. Imagine feeling so happy that every time you opened a cupboard, something else that made you happy just fell out. Whether it was pictures of family, whether it was a new trip, whether it was feel like you're on a game show and every door you open has a brand new gift for you. It doesn't have to be monetary. Imagine feeling so confident and so authentic that you just embraced every bit of this. And I want you to just imagine right now your house bursting at the seams. What's a big, beautiful house you could live in? And imagine that starting to fill with abundance. Imagine that starting to fill with the things that make you happy. And now, with all this beautiful, multiple amount of houses full of money, I want you to walk out the back where you live in this beautiful area that has nature all around it. But one of the main reasons you moved there was it had this dock that was just gorgeous. It was beautiful. And as you go and you step out the back door and onto this dock, you're walking out with your little notepad and pencil. And you're going to go do some journaling at the end of your dock. You have bare feet and you're just walking down, and imagine feeling so confident, so good, so unrestricted, so free, so unrestrained, so out of your prison, so thankful and so grateful that you unlocked the door of abundance that literally has just been waiting for us to open it. It didn't take a magic key. It didn't take a magic formula. It just took truly believing in ourselves and noticing the things that were holding us back with gravitational pull. And I want you to imagine right now that you're going to sit at the end of your dock. And as you look out onto this water, it is the most beautiful, clear, blue-green water you've ever seen. Perhaps you can notice pebbles and stones on the bottom. This water is so clear. That breathtaking vision of sitting down, and I want you to just imagine sitting down at the end of the dock, letting your feet hang off. Perhaps your feet even touch the water. And as you put your feet either near the waters, I can see some people just have their feet hanging right above the water. I want you to sit so that your feet aren't quite in the water, but they're just touching. If you were to just tip your toe, you could touch the water. And as you do, you notice it ripple. And it's rippling and rippling and rippling as far as the eye can see. I want you to just notice for a minute what that water looks like, what the color's like, what the clarity is like. Oh, and what it smells like. What does it smell like on your dock? It's your dock, it's your water, it's your beautiful manifestation of everything that is available. Perhaps this is just a place that you're renting for a little while, but you're on this dock, and I want you to take your notepad. I want you to take your pen or pencil in your hand, in your mind's eye. And I want you to ask yourself what was stopping you from achieving this. What was stopping you? How did you feel before, years ago, when you thought about having it all, when you thought about being happy, when you thought about being free, when you thought about being abundant, and when you thought about feeling deserving enough? I want you to write down 1, 2, or 3 things that come into your mind, just like you were watching yourself right now from that super conscious point of view, noticing how beautiful your hair looked and how beautiful your skin and your body felt, feeling beautiful. You may look the exact same as you did, but you're actually feeling beautiful. You're feeling abundant. You're feeling worthy. You're feeling full. You're feeling authentic. You're feeling like you're living your life's true purpose, like you're connected to your soul, that you know you are doing what you were meant to be doing, enjoying life as much as you possibly can every single day, every single moment, being that person, knowing that you are that person, truly knowing it, truly feeling it, allowing anything to just release from the system right now and come to fruition, and ask yourself, what was it that was keeping me from just going for it? And I want you to write down what it is. I was just afraid. I was afraid of. I didn't want to fail. I didn't want to lose it all. If I'm losing it slowly, I have more control over losing it all quickly and not having any control. I needed that control. Just notice what comes up for you when you ask yourself that. When you're truly asking divine energy, when you're truly asking the superconscious, accessing these answers, shining light on them. And when you're done, I want you to imagine ripping that piece of paper out of your notebook, choosing to release all these limiting beliefs, all these old stories about wealth and abundance and prosperity that we felt. Just choosing to let go of these old stories, literally allowing those points in time to simply collapse. And I want you to imagine folding that paper just in half. And I want you to imagine as you fold that paper in half that you actually bend over and put it in the water. And with your toe, I want you to just give it a little bit of a push. And notice that that piece of paper actually forms magically as you put it into the water and your toe touches it, into this beautiful paper boat. And I want you to notice that as your toe touched it, it caused these ripples. And it caused this boat to be sent out along these ripples until it is so far that you can no longer see it. Allowing it to simply be released into your field, allow it to be released into the cosmos. Knowing that this isn't something that fits you anymore. It may have fit in August and September even, but now in October, in this new eclipse energetic light, the true authentic self, we now know that it is truly our birthright to be abundant. It is available to us. And now I want you to take your pen and your paper again in your mind's eye. And I'm just going to start loading and loading the codes of abundance, these new affirmation codes into the body, allowing those old codes of scarcity, those old codes of lack, those old codes of sadness and fear and grief and shame to simply be let go. Watch them magically just hop into that paper boat and go. Anything else even that comes up, you can write it down, fold it up, send it down. You can put as many boats in that water as you want. This is your beautiful, beautiful lake, beautiful body of water. And I want you to really allow yourself to feel these words, to allow these sentences to resonate. And if any of them feel really good, imagine yourself writing them down and setting these new codes in your body as you'll also take this paper and let it go into the water. I want you to really feel that you are a magnet to money. You can turn on the frequency of money like a radio, and you choose to turn that station in. You choose to dial in the station of manifestation. You can even give it a number. You can even imagine that you're actually turning a radio dial to that frequency station that has that abundance manifestation. I want you to just feel that. I want you to feel attracting abundance to your life in every way. I want you to say, I just choose to attract abundance to my life in every way. You can say, I choose to attract happiness into my life in every way. I choose to just follow my joy to abundance. Oh, I love that one. I just choose to follow my joy to abundance. I am powerful and abundant. I am manifesting more and more every single day. I am excited to wake up in the morning and see what I can manifest. I am excited to wake up every morning playing with the universe. I'm even more excited to go to bed in my bed at night and be grateful and feel such appreciation for all that I already have. I just appreciate and love my bed and my pillows and my animals or my partner that may be there with me, my kids that come in and take over my bed, my animals that come in and take over my, I just feel so grateful. I want you to just feel the magnetic energy of all the abundance just starting to flow towards you, like you just turned on a big generator and you can hear that engine start to whir and all of the little components start to work with it. I want you to allow all of the channels of abundance to open in every way. I just choose to open all of the channels of abundance that may flow into my life at this time. Oh, I just choose to open the door and allow the money to start rolling in. I just choose to allow it to feel welcome. I choose to embrace it and hold it like a long lost friend. I believe in myself and I believe that I can have true wealth and prosperity. I believe that I can have all the happiness in the world. I truly believe that I deserve this. My time of disconnecting is now over, and I choose to turn on this switch, this frequency of abundance. I radiate in my uniqueness. I radiate in my gifts. I share them with the world. I want you to imagine saying an affirmation for yourself right now. Things are getting better and better every single day. I have this power inside of me to manifest my dreams. I'm choosing to be powerful and manifest my dreams. I'm choosing to take one small action every day, actually making it happen. I appreciate everything that's in my life right now. I have such gratitude for the abundance in certain areas. I want you to think of a couple areas that you have abundance in. Maybe you have a lot of shoes. Maybe you have the ability to simply be in need of something and it comes to you. Remember the times right now where you have actually needed something and it came in a way that you never imagined. I want you to imagine now writing 3 affirmations, or maybe even one that just feels good to you. I choose to follow my joy to abundance feels really good. I have faith that this is meant to be for me. I truly know what I am capable of. I'm standing at a mountaintop, the mountaintop of prosperity, feeling that groundedness. And I want you to imagine taking that piece of paper that you just wrote your affirmations on and sending them out into the universe by just folding that paper in half, leaning down and placing it into the water. And as you give it a little kick with your toe, I want you to imagine it turning into this beautiful little paper boat and noticing it as it just travels along the ripples and seeing how far this can go, seeing how many people this can reach, allowing the beautiful feminine water energy to take this abundance, this beautiful little abundance boat to exactly where it needs to go. And truly now choosing to allow that surrender. The surrender in knowing that this will actually happen, not the surrender in giving up, not the surrender in letting someone else do it, not the surrender of, well, I want it and it's going to happen. I want you to really know that this is going to happen. I want you to really feel like you know this is going to happen. All of the good that you've put in the world, all of the beautiful intentions that you've had, all of the beautiful, kind generosity that you have given and that you have expressed upon the world and that you have shared with the world is all about to come back in such profound ways. You will find yourself laughing with the universe and going, well, that was amazing. I want you to connect with your breath as you just watch that little boat float away. And in this beautiful, empowered state, I want you to take a nice couple of deep breaths. Grounding yourself to Mother Gaia again, allowing that light to swirl all through your body, staying glowing. That beautiful light energy is just there, filling, cleansing and clearing every single cell in the body, cleaning, clearing, and transmuting any of those old beliefs about why we couldn't have it, what was stopping us. And in your head, maybe repeating a few of those affirmations that really worked well for you, reprogramming your own codes, allowing yourself to choose the programs that your computer is going to run on. I just choose to allow that abundance and that flow in my life so that I can help others. Think about how much more we're capable of when we're able to help others freely and not from a state of lack. I feel like with all of us, if we could actually do what we wanted to do for humanity, the world would be a different place right now if we just allowed ourselves to have that ability to make this happen, to stop stopping it. We're going to ground all that into the matrix of the universe and all of our timelines and just take a stretch, receive a breath, feel the feels of all the abundance flowing in through different paths. You can literally go on a rampage where you just go, before we grab our cell phones in the morning, just take a minute, pause, and just allow yourself to have a few of those beautiful affirmation thoughts, right? Like, I just choose to allow all the abundance to just flow into my life today. And that doesn't just mean money. That means the people that need you. That means the people that are looking for you. It means the things that have been waiting for you when we're not stopping it from any way. Because think of those things that if we're feeling bad are going to allow us to not create. And it's not that we don't want it bad enough. We just don't want things more. So being so aware of how resistant we are, if you can't even go there to where you can't even begin to imagine the living without, that's going to be strong enough to keep us there because it's got so much gravity. I hope that makes sense. And I'd love to just end this off with a quick little story, a manifestation story. My husband and I have had our girls, I've talked about their sports, their ringette that they're getting back into. Just tell you guys a nice little story while you come back to me. Um, we've been down to one vehicle, and our truck broke down, and that's what my husband usually drives, but he has a work vehicle. So his work vehicle he can take to work and back, but he can't take it anywhere else. And my girls are both off in different directions right now, going to different sports areas of towns all over the place. And I was just like, I don't know how we're going to do this, but I didn't get tangled up in even with being really busy, because I always manage their teams, and I felt so much more balanced going into this year with this whole mindset shift, this whole sort of renewed emotional mastery that we've been really tapping into, and I've been, really learning myself. Being able to not get sucked into we're doomed, I don't know what we're going to do. We don't have the money for a new truck. It could have just gone sort of snowballed. Well, it turns out that my husband ended up helping our neighbors with fixing a car, and they were so grateful. They had a truck that had died because the engine failed, and our engine in our truck is great, but it's the rest of it pretty much. Well, he brought his truck over and dropped it off for us and said, take any parts you want. We can't afford a new engine. We're not doing it. You gave us this car. We don't need the truck now. Take anything you want from it. And it was like thousands of dollars of parts. Like, we needed a new vehicle. We needed some way to get my girls from point A to point B. It literally has all started this week. By this weekend, it was like, if we don't do something by this weekend, I don't know what we're going to do. I never went there. I was like, it's going to work out. It's going to work out. Everything always works out. He messaged me just now. I just put the last bolt in. We have a vehicle. We have a second vehicle. It gives me goosebumps. Never in a million years would I have imagined our neighbors would give us a truck. When we need something, we think like, right? Like, Linda knows the struggles, it's like this is manifestation, and it happens freaking fast. Like that. He went over and visited him yesterday, brought him his car, and they went, here, take the truck. And he was like, what? It's finished. It's not even 24 hours. We have a brand new truck. Like, this is blowing my mind, right? When we allow it. But I also had a great ball fest yesterday in the fact that I realized I was feeling so bad about taking money from people. I allowed this light through. I allowed this space for this to be able to happen. If I was still feeling bad, we wouldn't have taken that truck because I wouldn't have allowed it. I would have been like, "Oh no, we can't. We can't possibly." That I would have stopped it, you guys. Like allowing it. It's been there. It's that door waiting to swing open. I've never felt authentic about doing the manifestation ones for money because it was something I really did. Thank you. Thank you guys. It's so it brings me to tears because it's like as if I have a neighbor like that. First of all, they're the most beautiful people in the whole world. But we've my husband and I have always done so many good things. We would do that for someone in a second, right? So for me to actually allow that to happen back, I know that that is part of it because it's true that I would have not taken it. I really wouldn't have taken it. I would have been too worried that they would feel a certain way. They wouldn't love us anymore. But these are the things we do. We stop these things, even though we don't really realize we're stopping them. So, had I not felt so, bad about feeling so bad about things, that wouldn't have come up. That shift wouldn't have happened, right? Like it does. It's like, oh, it feels so good. It's amazing. And then that all felt in alignment. And this is where that alignment can bring us, right? Like we need to know what we want, but we need to know what it is that we don't want and allow that gravity to reduce a little bit so that we don't have that being what we're manifesting, right? We can manifest whatever we want. We just don't realize that sometimes we don't want something more than we actually want something. And that just dials us right back into those true choices, right? That's why our true choices are so important. And sometimes, even after working for a while, you don't have a true choice, right? But choosing to allow, surrender, not give up, but surrender to the fact that we are allowed it is a beautiful way to be able to really allow some of this manifestation to happen. So I thank you for listening to my story. I just felt called to tell you guys about that because the truck popped into my while I was dipping my toe in the water. This truck, I was just like, wow, I still can't believe that happened. And like I gotta share that. That's it does. And you see it happen to people all the time. They're like, I didn't know I was doing this, but 3 weeks later, here I am in my dream house. And 3 weeks later, I was like, oh, I'm on my house on the hill I always wanted. That actually, I had a moment like that in my garden just last week where I was like, this is what I wanted. This was my manifestation. Being here right now, picking my freaking vegetables. This is what I manifested. This is what I wanted. And then it was like, oh, okay, so what else do I want? We can do this, right? There's all, especially with the traumas, the things we've been through, there's reasons that we feel this way. There's reasons I felt bad for taking things. There's reasons, right? But when we allow ourselves to just have a little grace and look at those and understand how it can stop us, I can't wait to just see the things that you guys will manifest this week. So write down some more affirmations, have some fun with that for this eclipse season. Be really clear on what we are manifesting and change that dialogue in your head. Take a few moments every day before you pick up your phone in the morning to just be that rock star. Just, I'm attracting prosperity and abundance from every source and imaginable, like really just have a little moment of just a rampage of just all the positive thoughts until they just don't come out anymore. Just let them just fall from your soul because they're there. They are there. So thank you, everyone. I will let you guys go. I'm so sorry for keeping you over again, but I love you all so much. And I will see you next weekend, hopefully for the balancing out of the full moon. It's going to be so fun. I love it. I love that you guys felt that energy. That wasn't like a crazy visual, but I loved going into, was that meditation at the first fun when you start imagining money pouring in your house and starting to just kind of bulge up all over the place, open the cupboards. I had one client I did this with, and when she'd open the cupboards, new men would fall out and they'd be like, would you like grapes? Would you like chocolate? And she's like, there's men falling out of my cupboards. I'm like, make me some coffee, man. It's cute. But you can have fun with that because if you can allow that, that fun, that's what brings up that energy too. So that's that. I was just called to bring us into that at first. Good men falling out of the cupboard. Yeah. Yeah. They all looked like, oh yeah. That's too funny. All right, I'll leave you guys on that note. Love you so much. Have a great rest of your weekend. Take care, everyone. Thanks again for coming.
Thank you.
Good
Bye.
night. Bye bye, everybody.